All right. Good morning, everyone. We are live. It is Winning Women's Wednesday.
Yes, it is. Good morning, everybody.
Hello, hello. How is my fabulous co-host and co-captain, Michelle, doing?
I am fabulous. How are you doing?
I am doing all right.
Awesome, awesome. We are wrapping up Mental Health Month.
Oh.
Yeah, we're coming to the end.
I think
How's your mental health?
Yeah, I think I've maintained my sanity for the most part.
Excellent.
New hires and...
I'm excited for those.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And, we'll see if we can get any of them to even sit still long enough to get in front of the camera.
We'll bribe them. Donuts usually work.
There you go. Although, I don't know.
It's true they're female. Stereotyping, but yeah. It's okay. Forgive me.
So, we don't have a guest for this week. So we'll just...
talk about ourselves.
Yeah, we'll just improv.
Hey,
Yes.
we need a quote, though. We got to start with something.
Okay. So
We got to have a place to go.
All right. So let's look at...
Yeah, we've never had a great conversation about who we are and what we do. So this is a great time to do that.
That's true. So then, boom, right out of that, we got authenticity.
Ooh.
Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken.
Okay.
From
okay.
Oscar Wilde.
That's a little cliche, but it's
Yeah.
such a good one. Such a good one.
Well, and it's Oscar Wilde, so
Yeah.
when he originates something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't cliche for him.
Yeah,
It was-
certainly not for him.
Love it.
And so this is actually an exercise in authenticity.
Yeah.
It is coming on here.
Yeah.
So having been the guy behind the camera and essentially directing traffic.
Yeah.
And trying to maintain, well, anytime you're shooting or whatever, you try to be like inobtrusive or whatever.
Right.
But also, gotta say, telling myself the imposter syndrome at the beginning, so like 8 or 9 years ago,
Yeah.
was so profound. And it was actually earned. It wasn't, it isn't like I came out of film school with awards or whatever and
Sure.
then started doing this.
Yes.
So there's an element of you don't belong here.
Yeah.
And there's a nugget, there's a kernel of truth in there.
I
And
still
then-
think that's imposter syndrome.
Oh, yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah.
But, I play the balancing act of there is something to be said for having not ever done something.
Yeah.
And then going out on the limb and doing that. And then it becomes a matter of if you don't suck and you don't quit, you'll be fine.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Which is what I tell all my
Yeah.
guys. And then it's like, okay, if
It's like our show. Because most shows don't make it past like the 5th or
Yes.
6th episode.
Yeah.
We're
and
going strong.
Yes, we are now, I want to say, because Restream actually hits me up with these like little factoids or whatever.
Okay.
I want to say we are overall 23 weeks in.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, and then you came on early
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
So that the hybrid Coach's Corner
Yeah.
triangulation with you and Wayne came on, and then now you've been substitute Wayne
Yeah.
several times, which I am so glad I had that sort of epiphany.
Yeah. It's
And-
been fun.
Yeah.
So fun.
And thank you for that. And thank you for showing up.
Never thought I would enjoy this as much as I do. It's one of my favorite days of the week.
Same. And even when we did the road show at the MLS meeting,
That was
which-
super fun.
That was awesome. And that was cool because I had been so involved in that universe for a long
Which
time.
I didn't know. So it was so cool to see you already know everybody and just step in. It was awesome.
That was one of those things where it's like, wow, okay, I have not done this
Yeah.
in this world for a long time, but it's like, wow, I missed that. And then when we shot the White Party, and again, more of same.
Yeah.
And then last week, the North Dallas Real Producers, which is technically like a home game for me.
Yeah.
That was another one where our soon-to-be upcoming guest, Metrotech CEO Justin.
Yes.
So there were so many people there from my old Metrotech's universe
Yeah.
that it blew me away. And so I have a handful of others now. One, Christina, she won't come on, and she's adorable, and she's been in it forever. And she went through leadership. She's younger than me, and she went through Leadership Academy like 16 years ago.
Oh, wow.
17, yeah.
Wow.
So
she knows some things.
oh yeah, and she knows everybody.
We need you, Christina.
Yeah. We'll try. And the thing is, she's like cute as a button, and she's adorable, and everybody loves her. And she's like, I want to be on camera. I'm like, okay, yeah, that would be horrible, But
So you started with Studio USA on the photography side.
yes,
Is that right?
So
Okay.
technically, the way this all started just on the content and marketing side was I was a mortgage guy. And when I came to look, I used to work at, the Ivory Tower City and all of that. And like there, you just do portfolio stuff. And if you're good, they put you on the A paper stuff. And so a lot of my time was spent, and I can't ever remember if it's Merrill Lynch or if it's whoever the investment banker side is that they bought. I would deal with their portfolio people.
Okay.
And the idea was, okay, you're going to purchase a, $3 million house, or a co-op in New York or whatever, multi-million-dollar properties, but it's a gigantic pain in the ass. And there's so much especially with the New York portfolio, there's so many,
that's a whole different
transfer
market.
fees, transaction fees.
Yeah.
There's this legal situation where it's a clean and clear chain of title to absolve yourself of these other set of fees. And at the end of the day, what the job really boiled down to was they wanted me to deal with the high net worth people that you move all of your assets over here and we'll take care of everything for you. So it's like a concierge kind of a service thing. And then, once you're in that strata, it becomes easy from the standpoint of, well, if it's a $4 million loan and I give you 3/4 of a point credit towards closing or whatever, it's free.
Yeah.
And back then too, the rates were probably in the 4s, probably for the
good old days
for the regular citizens.
Yeah.
But then when it's A paper and it's internal,
yeah,
they can do whatever they want. Plus, it's a jumbo loan.
Oh wow.
So they're probably not going to sell it on the secondary market anyhow.
No.
So it becomes this thing of we just sweeten the pot, because all they want is the A paper portfolio in their investment side, which I totally get it. So anyhow, I said all that to say that's where I came from.
Okay.
And then I jumped into a local bank that was a boiler room, which was, it was like something out of a movie
There actually is a movie.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So the Ben Affleck boiler room movie, it was that exactly.
Yes.
And one of my buddies, Matt, and we'd actually worked together at 4 different banks, and he and I jumped in there together. And because on paper, our stats were off the chain.
Yeah.
We jump in there, and it is literally boiler room thing where it's like you're getting beat up. And me personally, I love that.
Yeah.
I've told you before, I would be a walking HR violation if I'm just completely not in an inappropriate with females.
Sure.
And not in a skeezy way.
Yeah.
But in a way of
you're just going to get the job done.
Just completely ungoverned and hurting people's feelings, just bulldozing and going crazy, cussing a lot and just, acting a fool, which is what that was.
Right.
And so
for sure.
It was like a locker room, but we happened to do loans, and I was made for that. But the beauty of that was if you put up numbers, they didn't care about anything. So one of my underlying operating philosophies has always been production covers a multitude of sins.
Absolutely.
And then the beauty of that was if you put up numbers, you didn't have to be in the office.
Even better.
So I put up numbers, and while I didn't mind being there, and there was a part of it where I kind of thrived, I also liked the idea of, I'm just going to go do this thing. So I say all that to say, I ended up at Metrotex.
Okay.
Me and another guy, Al Perotti, shout out to Al. We literally faxed our paper. Yes. There used to be this thing back in the olden times of a fax machine. So we faxed in our applications. His got there first, so he was the primary affiliate.
Excellent,
Yes.
excellent.
So I had to go wherever he went.
Yeah.
But that's how we did it. And after being in 1,000,005 different realtor events, the Dog and Pony Show.
Oh, yeah.
Where you sponsor stuff.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's what got me started on the talking head aspect of real estate.
Okay.
And out of that, I end up being pulled into you already have now you're experiencing you're the host of the Oaklawn MLS meeting.
Yes, I am.
And so
it's been a lot of fun.
Yes.
Third Wednesday of every month, we have some great speakers and a really good breakfast.
Yes. The breakfast is outstanding.
It is. Ours is the best because we're at the Turtle Creek Conservatory.
Yes.
So we have a pretty awesome breakfast.
Y'all have the atmosphere because years ago that was at Papa Do's.
Yes.
Which wasn't horrible.
No.
But it's not the conservative.
But now it's fancy.
Yeah. Now it's high tone.
Valet parking. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Come join us. It's so fun. And next month, shout out, Wayne is our speaker.
What?
Yeah. Don't want to miss it.
We might have to do, we'll have to.
Another road show.
Yeah, another
I love
road
it.
show.
I
Yes,
love it.
Yes. And I'll just be there just to encroach.
I love it. We'll
Yes.
save you a spot.
But as a result, I ended up doing CE classes. I ended up
Okay.
teaching. So because I had the background, I also did in Internet 1.0. I was at CompUSA corporate sales downtown
Okay.
off of
Oh, wow.
Mockingbird.
CompUSA.
Yeah, corporate. So I only dealt with the corporate clients,
Okay.
which then dovetailed perfectly into the whole city, a
Absolutely.
paper thing or whatever. Same exact demographic.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
as a result of having the tech nerd background, now you have hosted a bunch of MLS meetings. Like, okay, projector's jacked or the Wi-Fi's not working or whatever. Well, you go to enough MLS deals and you fix that.
Yeah.
Okay, now you're
You're the guy.
Yeah, you're the tech support or the
Okay.
or the nerd.
Yes.
The nerd about town. So that's what I ended up, and then I ended up now. Roxy at Metrotex actually taught me how to write CE classes.
Okay.
And submit them to Austin.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and so that became a thing.
Okay.
And then out of that, I got drafted to. I was one of the first to do RPR instruction.
Okay.
And so out of that, I ended up being introduced to the Matterport camera in 2014, 2015. So I was the
Wow.
third person in North Texas to have a Matterport camera.
Okay.
And that's how all of this started.
Okay.
Yes. So we took the long way around
Yeah,
a
I
couple
love
of
it.
barns. But that's how this started. And I went to the Art Institute 35 years ago.
Okay.
So it wasn't like a complete and total off the map
You
situation.
always had it in you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I always had that particular thing. But it came full circle when I started doing the photos 2015.
Okay.
I'm just me. I'm actually there and I'm doing the photos for free because I'm learning how to do it while I'm doing the Matterport camera.
Okay.
Matterport takes forever.
Yes.
And back then they were awesome. The technology was kick-ass and it was so ahead of the curve that they have been lapped 3 or 4 times
Yeah.
since then. So had it, lost it. Then it just starts growing organically from there. And my first company was Flux Media, which I partnered with Kristen Smith. And it was like just this another serendipitous thing where I'm posting the Matterport stuff. And that comes to, on Facebook. And I'm just doing stuff. So I literally learned my way into, we were talking earlier
Yeah.
about the networking and the girls freaking out or whatever. I would go to the MLS meetings. And at the beginning, so say 2013-ish, 2012, 2013.
Yeah.
I'm in the back and I'm searching on Facebook for who's in the room. Like whoever posted they were there.
Yeah.
And
Smart.
I would friend them.
Smart.
And then the following meeting I would tag them.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And so, I can relate to the gals, not like the other night or at the one deal for RP where they wanted to duck off into the side room
Yeah.
and just catch their breath. So I would go and I would just force myself to hang out.
To network and interact. Yeah.
Yeah. And shout out to Joe Mazza, the old godfather of the YPN program, because
Oh, yeah.
he saw me. I don't know if you'd ever gone to the old Park Cities MLS meeting. It was at Macaroni Grill,
Okay.
which is now a fire station at
Yeah.
like Preston and Douglas, across
Yes.
from the Ebby Little White House.
Yeah.
So that one used to be every Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
Or it was either every Tuesday or every other Tuesday. It might have been every other Tuesday. But my joke was, it was like the first day of high school every other Tuesday.
Absolutely.
When you
With
go
that
in
group,
there,
for sure.
it was like,
Yeah, for sure. That's some pressure.
yes. And so Joe found me as the deer in the headlights, and he just brought me in, and then he was the marketing director for Metrotex, and then it all kind of came from that.
So now you have Studio USA.
Yes.
What all do you do here?
So here we can do just about everything. It's kind of cut right down the middle. It's really weird to think that like 9 months ago this was a barbershop,
I know it's crazy.
but I have the photos to prove it.
Yes.
So the green screen allows us to do just about anything. So all the promos and stuff that we're doing now for real producers, instead of trying to coordinate and go to each venue and everything, we get footage from the venue and then we actually bang out all 4
Very cool.
in just a few hours.
Yeah.
Versus 4 different days completely ate up by
Yeah.
that. So it allows for convenience. And then the other thing is, like with my team shooting listings and doing whatever, we're the first. I'm sure I didn't invent anything, but
Sure.
we're the first ones to actually incorporate the green screen stuff
Yeah.
with the listing content.
Which is amazing.
Thank you.
And it sets your listing apart.
Yes, and
Yes.
the idea of my philosophy has always been I want to highlight the agent and then by extension the broker, or vice versa,
Yeah.
whichever. And then with the idea of you've already got this listing, so let's work on getting the next one.
Excellent.
So that's the
Love
business
that.
model.
Okay.
Versus
Yeah.
like, oh, let's just like beat everybody to death with 123 Main Street.
Yeah.
It's like, you already got that one. Calm down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Agreed.
You know, and I, you know, knock wood, thank you, baby Jesus. I only really ever deal with the listing agents that really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I already know you're going to sell this house. So like, we're going to do.
get you the next one.
Yeah. We're going to do what we're going to do on this property, but we're going to use all of that to get the next one.
I love that.
That's the philosophy. And then the more I can incorporate, you know, getting them on camera, get their face out there,
Yes.
you know, and, you know, thankfully it works.
Yeah. No, definitely. Y'all's
know?
listing photos are definitely a step above.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Cruz did my last listing, and I could not have been happier. And the house had 18 showings.
Holy mackerel.
Multiple offers, and under contract at full price. So can't complain. Cannot complain.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we'll probably be editing that out as a testimonial.
Yes, of course, of course.
Like
Happy to.
Yes, like an unsolicited testimonial,
Yes.
which actually are the best.
Yeah, for sure.
So now we came into contact with each other because of Real Producers. Magazine.
Shout out. Yeah.
And so
love that crew.
like one of the things I tell my guys is say yes to everything once. You show up. If it sucks, don't go back.
Exactly.
Like, you know, like why are you so precious that you can't like take your time out to go
Give it a try.
Yeah, do
Yeah.
something. And to just see what happens. You know, the idea of like contempt prior to investigation
Yes.
is just such a dead end. It literally is.
It keeps you from growing.
Yes.
You're really just hurting yourself because the person you say no to is just going to move on and find someone else.
Right.
So experience something. If you hate it, you hate it.
And it's like, oh, I don't want to go do that. I'm not getting paid. You know, it's like, oh my God, really?
Welcome to real estate.
Yeah, there is that. So now what is your origin story like? So I meet you at Real Producers.
Yes.
And for those that don't know, Real Producers are the 4 magazines under the one umbrella it's unique in that, one, all the agents that are there, it's a binary. You either make the cut production-wise
Yeah.
or you don't.
Yeah.
So if the cutoff was 10 million and you did 9.99,
You're
thanks.
out.
Yeah, thanks. Better luck next time.
Yeah.
And then, so obviously you had the skins on the wall as
Yeah.
far as the numbers go.
For sure.
But
Very thankful for that.
nobody wakes up, especially having a boutique brokerage.
Yeah.
Nobody wakes up making the cut there.
No.
So how did that come about as far as the coaching and the Real Producers production? Because like they're not mutually exclusive,
Right.
but those are 2 verticals, each with their own set of plates to spin.
Yeah. No, definitely. I've worked really hard, as most realtors, that have been successful, and I have built an incredible business with some great clients, and I do everything by referral. Now, definitely, there's the traditional sense of by referral. You've got your coaches out there that talk about the calls, the notes, the pop buys. I also incorporate a lot of technology into my business.
Yes.
So I am looking for new clients, but from a referral basis. So I have grown my business as a boutique. It's just me and my husband and my dad. He runs his own little business on the side. He does a great job.
What?
We'll have to get 80-year-old Ronnie on here. I think he's
Yeah.
only 78. Love you, Dad. He's amazing, though. He runs his little business, and it's always by referral, and we love it. And it's built on service, and we're going to do such a good job for you that you're going to tell your friends. And I'm also I don't mince words. If you think your house is worth $750 and it's not, I'm going to tell you, and I'm not going to take the listing. I learned that in my very younger years. My very first listing, she was probably half my age. She lived in it was an adorable little first-time buyer's home. And I was doing all the things. I wanted the listing so bad. I did all the things, and I did a realtor luncheon at her house. And I broke as a joke, y'all, and did like this huge spread of food and all these things. She did not like how I cleaned her kitchen when I left, and she fired me.
Wow.
And her kitchen was clean.
Yeah, I can't imagine that you left, just a
was
burned out
clean.
husk of a kitchen.
But it was more of her house wasn't selling as fast as she wanted
Yeah.
situation. And that's when I learned very quickly, one, I was going to stand up for myself in this business, not mince words, and be honest with myself and my clients on what I was going to do.
Amen.
And it was
So you
trial
learned,
by fire. I learned
yes,
fast.
You learned one of the things so when I teach my guys, because there are certain areas like weddings and quinceañeras and engagement. I want nothing. I want less than nothing to do with.
No bridezillas, thank you.
But my guys, they like that side hustle gimmick, and I'm like,
Okay.
dude, knock yourself out. And then every once in a while, I'll be like, oh, yeah, I'll hear the horror stories. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
told you
well,
so.
yeah, and it's like, okay, we'll just put that in the column of,
Now you know.
one of the reasons why I don't ever want to touch it.
Yeah.
But one of the things I tell them is, don't take a deal just to have a deal.
No, learned that early on. And that's what's allowed me to grow my business and be successful and still have the space to do the coaching.
Yes.
And as a female in real estate, even though it is primarily real estate, it was really hard to have a family and all the work-life balance and all the things you hear about. It was really stressful because I do love my job. Like my
Yeah.
career is a part of me and I absolutely love it. But then there was the mom guilt that went along with it. So when the time came where I could step aside and do something else, coaching and helping women develop their career and work-life balance without feeling guilty really appealed.
Boy,
to me.
that's the kicker.
Yeah.
That's the crux of it all.
Yeah.
And, to your credit, you're not just at, factory X where, okay, you come in, you drink the Kool-Aid, you get the logos, you get the whatever.
No.
There are so many other moving parts whenever you're the actual broker.
Oh,
And then most folks would think like, oh, or at least in our world, most folks would think like, oh, well, now I don't have to do the split.
no.
And it's like,
no, you don't.
no.
no, you
but
don't.
that extra money from not doing the split buys you a bunch more hats to wear.
Bunch more hats to wear. All of the marketing rules, all of the Trek rules,
All the E&O.
all the E&O, all of the with all of the changes with NAR right now, I really have to be on top of that. No one's just going to send me an email telling me what I need to know. Like I have to be on top of that. This is where actually, thank God for my dad, because he is very compliant and he always wants to know what the latest update is. And I'm like, I don't know. So I have to go find it. But it's good. That's been great and very, very helpful. So no, when you own a boutique business, as you know, with Studio USA, there's many hats.
Yeah, and you eat what you kill.
You eat what you kill and you never take the hats off.
Right.
Yeah, they're
Right.
always on.
Oh man, I wake up to text messages and I'm like, who thought I was gonna at 11:41 p.m. You know what I mean? It's like, wow. But then I also wonder, and I have empathy for somebody that is texting me at 1 a.m. and knowing that, okay, you're a top producing agent or whatever. Like, dude, like, whoa, take a knee.
You got to learn how to have some balance because the burnout will come.
Yeah,
It
and
will
like
come.
there, I wouldn't even. So, when I think of the term balance, I think, okay, that's impossible. That's a nice thing to.
I
Like,
hate the
sort of-
word balance.
Yeah,
It's not
to
real.
put on the horizon. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you're going to aim at that. But if you really are like what we're talking about here, like if you are the chief cook and bottle washer,
Yeah.
there really is no balance.
No, there's seasons. And for me, I've done this long enough that for me personally, I can look at the year and I can say, okay, this time of year is when we can go on vacation and we can do these things and we can do these things. We're not going to be doing that in August.
Right.
Because we have other things that we're going to have to do.
Right.
And that's what I try to help my ladies with is, okay, let's look at the reality, not necessarily what you want. We can work towards what you want, but let's look at where we are now and what we can really do and make the best of all of that so
Yeah,
that
that's
you're
what I-
enjoying yourself.
And there's a level of pragmatic awareness.
Yes.
Like let's quit aiming for the moon whenever
Yes.
that's not really attainable.
I had someone that wanted to coach with me, and we talked about doing one of my business development. It's a 6-month series, and she wanted to be a part of that. And she wanted to go from, she's been an agent for 2 years, has not sold anything. She's done a couple leases, and wants to make $150,000 this year. And I just flat told her, I was like, that's not realistic.
That's a big ask.
That's a big ask. Unless I said, we can change a lot of things. I said, but even then, that's probably not realistic. So let's start with, let's get your first deal closed in the next 90 days.
There you
and
go.
we'll see what that looks like and what your pipeline looks like, and we can reevaluate. And that's the other thing that people don't realize is goals are subject to change. You can miss
Right.
it. You can miss the target and still be proud of what you accomplished. So yeah, it doesn't have to be, that's as we go into the second quarter, this is a great time to evaluate where you are, be honest with where you are, and look at what worked and what didn't work and make those changes. Don't be hard on yourself. Just make the changes. Don't wait till the end of the year and say, oh, well, it was a bad year. No. That's not good.
I like that. Course correct. And it's so. Now, do you think they come in with unrealistic expectations, or because, for example, what is the average realtor income is like, I don't know, 36 grand, 34 grand.
It's under the poverty level.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And so, and of course, in all fairness, that takes in all the part-timers and all
Sure, and the ones who just are holding their license.
And all the stereotypical like trophy wives or whatever,
Yes.
that they only sell a house if somebody that they know.
Yes.
Yes. So, I'm sure it's the 80-20 rule and then some. Like
For sure.
20% of the agents do 80% of the business. And it's probably even more pronounced than that. But
I think the issue is people don't realize what we do.
well, yeah, and kind of go into like where you were saying the okay, want to make 150,000. Okay, well that's like 3x the average. Okay,
Yeah.
so then that means you would have to do 3x the average input, like
Absolutely.
whatever that looks like for the individual.
Yeah.
And then it's okay. Are you being fully aware and cognizant of, if I want a 1% result, then I need to do 1% behavior.
Yeah.
Which in today's world, and there's just so much fluff and hyperbole and just bullshit.
Yeah.
That and it's weird too, because people a lot of the times I find want to look like they do the thing without actually doing the thing.
Without doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But somehow that became more important than the
Yeah.
actual thing.
Yeah.
Which, we were talking before about, like, thank God I aged out of, or I didn't get caught in some of the things that I absolutely would have just eaten with a spoon
Yeah.
if I'd have been, in my 20s right now.
Right.
I would
Right.
sit
Oh,
every
gosh.
night and
Yeah.
just do some sort of calculus in my mind of like what I didn't do or where so-and-so, and there would just be this nightmare cycle where the snake eating its tail.
Oh, for sure. The imposter syndrome.
Yes. And that whole thing of just feeling like a failure at 20, 25,
Because you don't own a
30.
jet.
Yeah, exactly. And then realizing that the vast majority of all of that is fake anyhow.
So fake. Yeah.
And then there is the part of me that is like the
And is it even if it's real, is it bringing them happiness?
right. But there's
So-
also, again, kind of whatever I can't remember what we were talking, but it was like, I probably would not have been the guy that stood up to Hitler or whatever.
Right.
I'd have just, right along with the other idiots or whatever. I have to admit, there's a greater than zero chance that if I was like 17 or 20 or whatever now, I would be one of the biggest internet fraud scamsters.
It's
just
so easy. Yes.
and there's the imp of the perverse in me that loves that sort of thing. So it's like just to get away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, thankfully, addiction and all of that just beat the living hell out of that part of me to where like, okay, now at 19 and a
You've
half
learned
years
your
sober-
lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is something to be said for winning fair and square.
Yeah. And working hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the it's so cliche now, but falling in love with the process.
Yes.
And I think that's probably kind of like what you were talking to about, like helping the women get balance and to not feel guilty and all of that.
Yes.
To where
They don't understand the process, or they don't have a process, or worse, no one in leadership has taught them a process. And I think that especially over the last few years where my dog could sell a house, she is precious, but it didn't take a lot of skill because
Right.
because of just the nature of the market at that time. And we've done ourselves a disservice because we've taken in all of these new agents and we've not trained them.
Yeah.
And now they're flailing and they need help and there's no one to provide it. And that's not right. We need to step up in our industry and really help those agents that want to be helped. The ones that, I would do the work if I knew what the work was. No one's told me. They just want to take my 20% or whatever it is
Yeah.
and send me on my way. Well, for most people, that's not going to work. They've got to be taught. There's got to be some level of education.
Yes. And I like the philosophical approach of, did you think it was going to be easy? No. Okay. Well, this is what hard feels like.
Yeah.
And then the idea of, embrace the suck or, love the process and reprogram yourself to if at all possible,
Yeah.
you know, you reprogram yourself to like, even now, I use the example. So last Friday I had to go and missed one shot at a house in Rockwall or whatever. And
gosh.
I text Cruz Sunday morning at 7:40 when I'm on my way out the door to go do this. I'm like, just so you know, this happens all the time, or not all the time, but this happens.
Yeah.
And now, okay, so 5 years ago, I would have just beaten my own ass the whole way there, the
Yes.
whole way back, everything. Now I know that, like, well, that's price of admission.
Yes.
You are in the game. You
I'm
are
gonna
on
fix
the
it.
field.
Yes.
And that it goes in the karma column.
Yes.
And the more that I can do that and not bitch about it and laugh about it, you know, and to realize, like, oh, there's never a time where you're going to avoid every situation like that. So when
No.
it does crop up, just lean into it, do it, and shut up.
And be thankful that you had the opportunity to even make the mistake.
Yeah, well, that's metatextual right
Yes.
there. So
yes.
so
Because
that's
you could have been sleeping late because you had no business.
that's true.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
true. And yes, so that's the advanced level.
Yes.
So that's the grad school.
I'm going to get you there. I'll
Yes.
get you there.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Well, this was awesome. This
It was so fun.
Yes. So now, what do you got going this week? Anything fancy?
Nothing fancy. Just working. Last week of school for the kids, or the kid. Super excited about that. I mean, she's as over it as I am. So I know. Shout out to the moms, the teachers, the kids. We're done. We're done.
Amen.
Yeah. So ready for summer. Ready to have some fun. Ready to sell some
Selling
houses.
season? Yeah. Let's get selling season going.
And ready for some strategy sessions for anyone who needs to get their strategy back on track. You can check it out at my website.
Love it. Love
yeah.
it. Love it.
How about you? What you got?
Got one more country club to go hit.
Nice.
Yes.
You are like country club king these
yeah. Then
last
I'm going to
few weeks.
hibernate. Yes.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to hibernate.
Nice.
My introverted extrovert is taxed,
I'm sure.
but it is one of those things where there are a lot of things that I do where it's like, oh, this will be really good in the rearview mirror.
For sure.
Where I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is going to wear me out.
Yeah.
But then when I'm done, I'm like, oh, I'm glad I did that.
Yes.
And speaking of, I'm glad we did this.
Yes, it was so fun.
And guest free. So it will happen.
Yes.
And we just pivot. And here we are.
And here we are.
And so we'll have Peter take us out.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, sir. Woo.
See y'all
All
next
right.
time.
Yes. There we go. And the beauty of it being recorded.
Yay. So I have a question. If we can record, can we have people like could a person be here that we interviewed online?